This simulator, that simulator. When are you gonna get bored with this stuff? Well, that doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. These games are incredibly addictive. They include management, grind, tycoon-like mechanics, development and upgrade paths, everything. It's like you take the satisfaction of upgrades and getting stronger in games, compress the time between you getting those upgrades, and act as a way to give you that satisfying feeling over and over again. Old Market Simulator is one of these games that I've experienced to be incredibly addictive. It might look janky, feel janky. Okay, maybe it is janky, but I love it anyway. Let's go through what the game has to offer. The game starts by giving you a simple shop in a town on an island in the middle of the ocean, draped in a medieval aesthetic with liberties taken on things here and there. There is also more than one type of the map in this game, but we will be focusing on the first, official map of the game. The game starts out with a nice tutorial that teaches you your daily cycle. Buy things to sell, wait for the orders to arrive the next morning, carry them to your shop, sell the products, and buy more stuff with the money you gained. The loop is as simple as it can get, but the game does manage to bring in new, exciting stuff more and more as you make more money, and it takes a long time for things to get stale, longer than it usually takes for these types of games. For Fast Food Simulator, my main gripe was that no permanent upgrades or developments throughout the game were present. Well, this game has a lot of that. Expanding your store, buying a different place for storage, buying farmland so you can actually grow your stuff and sell them rather than buying them, are good things that cost money, but let you make more money in the future, making them good investments. I also really like the machines you can buy to create different items. For example, you can buy brewing equipment and make your own alcohol. Making more expensive items like alcohol usually takes more than one item to craft, and you can usually get those items by using your farmland, buying animals like cows and chickens so you can get eggs, milk, or meat. So you can get more self-sufficient and need to buy less stuff as time goes on. You also have a reputation bar that you can always look at, which is on the top left corner of the screen. That reputation will decrease faster than you can run back to the store from your little fishing trip if you leave the store even a bit dirty, as the floor gets muddy over time, or if you sell spoiled goods, or try to sell them for too expensive of a price. The more reputation you have, the more customers can enter your store, and you will make more money as a result. You can hire workers. You can also get better workers who will work faster. Everything you buy or everyone you hire comes at a daily fee. The bigger your shop, the bigger the upkeep. Every furniture, animal, and other things you will buy will increase that daily upkeep, which can get a bit ridiculous throughout the late game, so that's something you need to keep in mind. If you spend too much money buying products and don't leave enough to pay for the upkeep and workers, the hired people will not come to work for you the next day, and not being able to pay your upkeep costs for 3 days in a row will result in your demise. Money management is a big part of the game. You can also buy too many upgrades and not enough products. And if you are at the start of the game, getting greedy with buying permits to buy different categories of products can leave you penniless. Climbing out of that with only being able to buy a few boxes of tomatoes and a single box of bread is going to be pretty much impossible. You might need to start again if you are not careful, since if you are not making enough money, losing too much respect from the customers and having too much of an upkeep cost can mean that you are basically falling deeper every day and need to start over. It feels like a good representation of opening your business in real life as well. There's some fun stuff to do as well. You can fish, which can of course help you get fish to sell, but you can also catch other things like a box of whiskey or beer bottles, which will go for a hard skipping amount of money, especially if you're in the early game and don't have much of that money, that is. There is a cool little museum where you can go and fill with little origami figures you pick up throughout the world, hidden in little corners and crevices. Collecting all of them also results in a pretty good cash bonus. Same thing applies to fish. Fishing in different areas around the sea that surrounds you can result in you catching various sea creatures, which you can donate to a big aquarium in the village to collect all of them and complete the collection. There are also festivals and other events you can see by looking at the calendar. These festivals will increase the price of some items, which means increasing both the buying and selling prices. However, you can stock up on these items before the event arrives by making them yourself or buying them. When the event arrives, you can sell those items for an increased price. Such stuff bring a lot of color to the game. There are a lot of mechanics, like mining different rocks around the world to find different ores, using them to craft armor and weapons, and of course selling them for a good sum. Decoration is plenty, and decorating your place also ups your reputation. So it's not purely cosmetic, and serves a gameplay purpose as well. The cycle of planning what to buy, plant, or store at the end of the day, placing orders, waking up and carrying the orders to your market, which you can get horses to help you with, setting them up however you want in your store, and selling the stuff. The loop is great. There is plenty to do, and it's overall just a great example of a game in its genre. And like many of its type, it's not without a healthy number of bugs and jank. Getting caught up in objects and getting stuck, the fishing rod working in a non-Euclidean geometrical plane unlike ours, the customers getting stuck on each other or on objects. These bugs do not make the game terrible automatically, of course, but they range from being funny to annoying at different points in the game, and being able to use the limitless range of the fishing rod to fish in your own market feels like a bug that creates a way of making the game simpler in a way that the developers do not intend. I will use such bugs if they don't break the game immediately, but it feels to use the mechanic to skip a step in the game in an unintended way. The seasons are too long. The game goes through seasons, but because the days are pretty long as well, you will most likely be almost finished with the game before you see your third season. The changing of seasons could be done faster, but did the seasonal crops become an issue? Do you make them grow faster as well? Then will they be too overpowered to grow, like some crops almost are in the current version? Then what's the solution? Shortening the days? That comes with a host of problems as well. The game mechanics and design interact with each other almost always, so I know balancing such a thing comes with a lot of different things one needs to think about as well. Some late game upgrades can feel redundant as well. You can make your plant area bigger so many times that planting and harvesting could only be what you do. Or you can have a pretty big cellar storage as well, and probably will not be using them all. When you are done with buying those upgrades, and if you used a pretty big event well and stocked up on a lot of expensive items and sold them all, you will be swimming in money. It's pretty easy to spend a crazy amount of money on this game, but when you buy all the animals, do all the upgrades, and buy all the machines, the game goes, okay, keep going. This is what a lot of different simulator games do as well. There is no ending, there is no you succeeded, there is no you did it. There is only keep playing and do the same things over and over again. And when the upgrades and novel stuff you can buy end, the magic of the game goes away completely in an instant. While Fast Food Simulator had better gameplay throughout its loop of what the player needed to do during the day, Old Market Simulator had everything it lacked. But still, at the end of the day, I don't know which game I prefer. I'm not one to say every game has to have a story, but I think the way this game can be transferred to the next level is to add a story, and tie the progression to that story. Maybe you can buy big ships and connect the different islands and let them act as multiple stores on the same map that you can travel between. That might be an idea, a pretty difficult one to do, but an idea nonetheless. The grind was magnificent, blinding in its addictiveness, but then went away the moment the content well dried up. Still, it is a game with charming graphics that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it created a gameplay loop and content well that didn't dry up for 10 hours of gameplay in our case. It was one of the better simulator games I played in some time.